Have you ever outgrew a version of yourself, but you're still wearing it like a coat that doesn't fit anymore? Maybe it's how you used to cope with things. Maybe it's how you used to see yourself. Maybe it's a role you play in your life, in your family, your friendships, your relationships, and it's not who you are anymore. But everyone around you still expected, and letting go of that feeling complicates. Even when you know it's time. I want to talk about that today because becoming what God calls you to be requires releasing who you used to be. And that's one of the hardest and most undertake about parts of growth. Introduction. Welcome back. This week 3 of starting over with God. Last week we talked about trusting the process when you don't know what's next. This week we are going somewhere a little more personal because sometimes the thing standing between you and your next season is extreme. It's not closed door or delay. Sometimes it's you, or more specifically, an older version of you that you haven't fully let go of yet. Let's get into it. Grief is part of growth. Nobody tells you that growth involves grief. We talk about new seasons like there are excitement and fresh start. But the truth is, every new season requires the death of an old one. And death, even the death of a version of yourself, comes with grief. Maybe you're grieving the person you used to be before anxiety took over, or the person you were before a relationship changed you, or it's the person you were before you started healing. Because as strong as it sounds, sometimes the old you felt safer even if it wasn't healthier. Ecclesiastes 3 said there's a time for everything. A time to keep, a time to throw away, a time to mourn. If you're grieving a version of yourself you're leaving behind, that's not weakness. That's not weakness. It's not what you've been ungrateful for growth. That's part of the process. Let yourself grieve it. Don't rush past it. Don't move back into it either. The comfortable of who you are. Here's something uncomfortable I want to name. Sometimes we hold onto old versions of ourselves, not because they were good for us, but because they were familiar. The anxious, anxious version of you knows how to survive. The people-pleasing version of you knew how to keep peace. The closing off version of you knew how to protect your heart. Those versions of you were all bad. They got you through seasons you needed to survive. But survival mode and the life God is calling you into are not the same thing. God doesn't want you to just survive your life. He wants you to actually live it. And living it requires letting go of the coping mechanism, the defense pattern, the old identity that help you get by, but we're never ever meant to be permanent home. Philippians 3:13. Philip, Paul said he doesn't consider himself yet to have arrived. One thing he does, forgetting what is behind, the precious on towards what is ahead. Forgetting what is behind is denied. It's not pretending the past doesn't happen. It's choosing not to live there anymore. So I want to ask you something direct. What version of yourself are you still carrying around that God is asking you to put down? Maybe it's the version of you that doesn't believe you deserve good things. Maybe it's the version of you that has to control everything to feel safe. Maybe it's the version of you that doesn't think you're allowed to rest. Whatever it is, God is not asking you to destroy it violently. He's asking you to gently set it down, thanking for getting you this far and walking forward without it. Doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Who does God say you're right now in this season? Not who you are 5 years ago, not who you are before the hard thing happened. Who you are now in Him, loved, chosen, being made new, not behind, not broken, beyond repair, not too far gone. That's who you are, even if it doesn't feel true yet. Who God says you are now. Here's the good news in all of this. Letting go of who you are isn't about losing your identity. It's about stepping into the identity of God, identity God already gave you. 2 Corinthians 5:17. If anyone is in Christ, the new creature has come. The old has gone. The new is here. Not the old will eventually go. It has gone. Past tense. Already done. The problem isn't that God hasn't made you new. The problem is sometimes we keep going back to pick up the old version of ourselves out of the habit. We know the way there. It's familiar. And new things, even good new things, feel unfamiliar and uncomfortable at first. But discomfort is the same as danger. Feeling unfamiliar is in this new season doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're doing something new. And new things feel strange before they feel normal. Who does God say you are right now in this season? Not who you were 5 years ago. Not who you were before the hard thing happened. Who you are now in Him. Loved, chosen, being made new, not behind, not broken beyond repair, not too far gone. That's who you are, even if it doesn't feel true yet. In closing, so if you're in a season where you can feel yourself becoming someone different, and that's a little scary, a little unfamiliar, maybe even a little lonely, because the people around you knew the old version of you. I want you to know that discomfort is not a red flag. It's meant to be most accurate sign that something is real, is happening. You're allowed to outgrow things. You're allowed to outgrow versions of yourself. That's not betrayal. That's growth. This week, I want you to do one thing. Write it down, one identity label or coping pattern you're ready to gently set it down. You don't have to know exactly what replace it yet. Just acknowledge that you're ready to let it go. If this speaks to you, share it with someone who might be in the middle of becoming someone new and doesn't quite have words for it yet. And make sure you're subscribe, like, and comment. Next week, we're going to close out the series with something practical, how to actually start fresh and not just talking about it.